This is the CFM news for your 2023 to 2024 season. Today, we are going to start off with the Bengals head coach suddenly retiring. There's been many speculations on whether it's some form of tax evasion, maybe an illness in the family, but we know he has stepped down and they are looking for a new head coach. In other news, CJ Stroud, the star rookie quarterback, who was taken number 2 overall, got benched last game. Still got the win, but that's all we got for news, man.
All right. And unfortunately for the Texans, they still got the win without CJ Stroud. So I guess it didn't really matter that he was benched. But he was benched for the fact that the user or the coach decided that they would rather just walk off the field instead of finish the game because they were a little scared of the opposing team. So he unfortunately had to get benched for this game. But for you guys' favorite segment of the week, we're going to be showing off the clips for Shacked and a Fool. Big props to the 49ers and the Chiefs for their submissions.
Whatever. Take a rush. Yo, what the fuck?
Alrighty, I am glad you guys got to enjoy those Shacked and a Fool moments. We are now going to proceed with our plays of the week. I hope you guys enjoy the content because I know I sure have being able to see all the clips that you guys submit. Let the clips roll now.
I don't care if I'm making that fucking read. That's on me. That should be fucking stupid. Like, look at this dude. Yep, he is. He did. You're right. You're right, Coles. Look at the touchdown he threw. Look at the touchdown he threw. Look at the touchdown he threw.
The backs coming after him, trying to keep them from locking down a game. Right now, they want to show the world they're up to the challenge.
And they are going to score. Jones now on 1st and 10. Man open is right. Second half ready to get rolling. The Giants with a lead, and they are set to receive this kick. Holmes returning from his end zone. The lane opens here. He's past the 30. Darnay Holmes. It's a foot race.
Alrighty, thank you guys for submitting your plays of the weeks. We now have something that we would like to introduce. All thanks to Ja. Ja, go ahead and kick that off and start talking about it for us.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Ja, and today I'm going to introduce the CFM's Fire 5. We have power rankings, top offenses and defenses that we want to introduce to y'all, and our ideas on how they should be ranked.
Alrighty, and I think we should start on those CFM Fire 5, the top 5 team. Obviously, number 1, I think it's undisputed right now. The Panthers. How do you guys feel about them?
I mean, they're a well-rounded team. They have a good offense, a good defense, and they get the job done on both sides. So them being up there makes sense.
How about you, AJ?
I mean, well, when you look at it, it's hard to dispute them from being number 1 when you shut out your past 2 opponents. 8 quarters of football and not even allowing a field goal? Come on. What are you supposed to do against that, Coles?
Yeah, no, it's very unfortunate for anyone that has to play them in the following weeks. Unfortunately for me, I played against them in week 1, and it was just atrocious. It sucked. I couldn't get anything going on offense, and neither can anyone else. All right, and then number 2, we have the 49ers, a.k.a. Agent. Ja, how do you feel about them?
I mean, I went into San Fran and kind of beat me. You feel me? I feel like he's a tough opponent. He's good on offense. He's good on defense. He's really good at passing the ball. so it makes sense. And I couldn't really score on them. I couldn't figure them out. So I understand why other teams have trouble doing so as well.
Agent, go ahead. Tell us how you feel about
Well,
yourself.
obviously, my partner's for the Niners. But, I will say that I am pretty blessed to be number 2 in the rankings because I have been down by 3 scores on 2 different occasions in the first 4 weeks of football. And we came back both times, so great job to Matt Corral, but Purdy's not stepping his game up, and that could bite us in the future.
It definitely can. Definitely can. And then the Jags. How do you guys feel about the Jags?
Well, honestly, if you don't mind me interjecting here, I've seen the Jags play a lot from the streams, and that's one well-rounded team. I mean, I think I watched them in consecutive weeks beat the Chiefs, beat the Falcons, and then just came in which was this past week, and they just look rock solid. Trevor Lawrence looks like an animal back there, and that defense, we'll see them later on defensive list, but it's something that nobody's really talking about. I guess unsung heroes.
And then we have the Browns. They're 4-0. Just like everyone on this list, everyone is undefeated. How do you guys feel about the Browns? How about you, Mr. Agent?
Man, the Browns are just lucky. I mean, yeah, they're 4-0, so you got to give it to them. They got the job done. But that game against the Ravens, if any of you guys seen it, it was the game of the week. They should have lost that game. The Ravens got a user alert. They got off the field, but as soon as they pick the ball, they fumble on the same play, not even getting the offense. They better count their blessings, man.
Yeah, I think that's the worst team, or the weakest team, I should say, out of this list. I think we can all pretty much agree on that.
Yeah, I would agree on that. And then number 5, we have Mr. Barry. He is unfortunately in the 5th place just because he hasn't got to play his week 4 game. So hopefully after this recording, he'll get his game in. But how do you guys feel about Mr. Nobody?
Honestly, I think he might have the best all-around run game in the league. The Ravens definitely, we'll talk about them later, and just when it comes to offenses. But I think just the Bears have so many different guys that can do it to you in that backfield, including Justin Fields, who is hurt right now. But the fact that he won a game against the Chiefs with Ryan Tannehill, I think that just tells you all you need to know.
Hey, Khalil Herbert went crazy in his game. And against, I believe, the Chiefs. Yeah, that was a great game to watch. But let's talk about these offenses. How do you guys feel about Baltimore's running offense?
I mean, do we really even need to mention his name? His name is Lamar Jackson. We've seen him go for $150 this year already. It's been 4 weeks, and that was in one game. I mean, I wouldn't want a game plan for him. Would you?
No, definitely, I would definitely not. I believe he's one of our league rushing leaders. I think he's number 3, and that's not including the rest of his running backs. So, Ja, how do you feel about the Ravens?
I mean, Lamar Jackson. But what people seem to forget is that he also has Isaiah Pacheco on his team waiting to be unleashed. We've seen him already get 93 yards in a game. He's been quiet ever since, but he's one of those players that can break out against any team. And when he does, him plus Lamar is a scary backfield.
That is very true. Let's talk about the 49ers offense. They love their fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. Ja, how do you feel about their offense?
I feel like that offense is so scary on third down. Like you can think you're going to get off the field, and then somehow you just don't. And they have just so many weapons that it's really hard to game plan for. So if they keep it up, that's probably the best offense
That's very
in the
true.
league.
Agent, what do you think you need to do to get to the number 1 spot?
Well, first and foremost, I got to get CMC the Rock more in the run game and just open space. I've been making that an objective in the past 2 games. Giants kind of made that a little tougher just getting to the outside because their D tackle was in our backfield the whole game, but I think that's our main focus. And definitely in the red zone, get Juszczyk the ball. He's a monster down there.
Yep. And then for the number 3 spot, we have the Bengals. Unfortunately, the coach, they just retired, so usually we wouldn't include them in if there's not a user for it. But it's really hard to pass up on this opportunity to talk about their elite passing game. Agent, how do you feel about the Bengals' passing game?
Well, I mean, I was one of the people questioning some of the moves on trading away a lot of that talent because they traded away T. Higgins, who were staying actually on the Giants on Jaws roster. But yeah, can you say when you got CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow, how are you supposed to stop that? I mean, I don't care what DBs you have, that's unguardable.
And John, what do you think that the Bengals were doing great at in the passing game?
I mean, when you have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb, it should seem easy. And as you could tell, it looks pretty easy for them to pass the ball. If they can figure out a running game, that's going to be a really scary offense. But for now, if people pass commit, they might be able to keep those three under check.
That is very true. And unfortunately, we did lose the Bengals user, RIP Mr. Buckets. But he's able to fin the ball in places that you should not be able to get the ball into. But let's talk about this crazy offense led by Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Agent, you want to lead us off with that one?
It'd be my pleasure. I mean, coming out the draft, we called Trevor Lawrence the greatest quarterback prospect since Peyton Manning. And can we say he hasn't lived up to the hype? I mean, they were not too far off of beating a Chiefs team that won the Super Bowl just last year. And now they add Calvin Ridley to that passing game, who has been coming out of cuts like he never left. I don't know, man. They say betting's wrong. Ask Calvin Ridley, but that's a team I'd like to bet on.
And Mr. Jaw, what do you think makes the Jaguars a top 4 offense?
I mean, if you can go out there and score 101 points in 2 games, I don't think there's really nothing else to say. He can run the ball for 100 yards while also passing it for 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's a really good offense right there.
That is very true. It's hard to contain Trevor Lawrence. But now we have in the number 5. Oh my God. In the number 5 spot, the Buccaneers. I haven't got to watch any games, so I can't really talk about it. But Agent, what have you seen in their games?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I mean, they're taking out a quarterback carousel over there right now. Some trades that have gone on. But the biggest thing that I'm saying this, it feels like Jameis Winston's back in town. It's a fucking turnover bakery over there. They're getting the yards and they have a great air attack. But the amount of jump balls that they throw and just kind of say, hey, I trust my guy to go get it. I mean, obviously you can see by the stats they're a top offense for a reason, so it's working more often than not. But yeah, man, I'm gonna say you might lead the league in interceptions, but they'll still score on you. That's for sure.
That is hilarious. But now we're on to the CFM's Fire 5 top defense. So, obviously, number 1, undisputed, is going to be the Carolina Panthers. We don't really even have much to say about them. You can't pass the ball. You can't run the ball. You shouldn't even be on offense out there. You have a higher chance of scoring with your defense than you do in your offense playing against the Panthers. Agent, what have you seen out there?
Well, I've known the user of the Panthers for many years at this point, and there's one thing I can tell you. He will scheme up a defense that you might think you know what's coming at you, but you never do. And it's always with this Panthers unit. You don't hear the big names, but they get the job done. They're a well-coached unit. You got Brian Burns coming off one edge. You got Sweat and Cox coming from the inside. Pause. And all I'm gonna say is this: that DB room. Let Jeremy Jean and J.C. Horn tell you all you need to know. Them guys strap that shit up. It's no fly zone over there.
And Ja, how do you feel about that Panthers defense?
I mean, there's nothing really I can really say about it. They go out there and they just don't give up points. They're outscoring their opponents like 3 million to 21 through the first 4 weeks of the season. And I only think that it's going to be an even bigger margin by the time we get to the end.
Yeah, it's kind of scary having 2 games where you don't allow a single point. That's almost unheard of. It is unheard of.
Especially in a pass on or an offensive Madden game. I mean, that's impressive.
And now we're going to talk about Jaw's favorite team, the New York Giants. how do you feel about your defense?
I mean, I feel like I have one of the best defenses in the league, and I'm getting acknowledged for it. The only problem is I feel like my defense is on the field too much, so it inflates offensive stats. But I mean, I just came off of a game where I scored 4 times on defense and 1 time on special teams, so I think I'm pretty solid all around.
And Agent, you had to play against him. How do you feel about that?
Well, I can tell you everything he's saying is complete truth. His defense is very good. It's definitely a top five worthy unit in this league. It definitely, especially at the start, like the first half of that game, I was struggling. I got bailed out a little bit with CMC converting some stuff on third down to get us to continue the drives. Some of the stuff that honestly I kind of got a little lucky with just with some of the passes that we was hitting. And it's a tough unit that will, whether it's going to come sack you with that D line, they're going to stop your run game. They're going to commit turnovers, as we've seen that Seahawks game where they blew them out, just scoring like 6 times on defense. I mean, don't know what else to say other than offense needs to help them out a little bit. But other than that, that defense is a lot for top five all year.
Alrighty, and then we're going on to number 3, the Atlanta Falcons. Agent, go ahead and lead us off with this one.
Falcons, probably my favorite pass defense in the league for one specific reason. Everywhere you look, you cannot exploit it. You want to throw AJ Terrell? All right, cool, that's a bad idea. You want to throw to DJ Turner and think you can just bomb him over the top? Good luck. That boy out there got burners. And what, you think the secondary is weak in the fucking back end of it? Hell no. I'm sitting back there. I'm looking at a dude who used to play corner. Now he's at safety. A man that is 6'1". A man that can still hit. He can still play you in man or zone. And let's not forget they signed Jesse Bates in the offseason, who is now, he's an X factor. And if you watch them play, you'll know why.
And John, how do you feel about the Falcons' defense?
I mean, we're talking about a defense that had 12 picks in a regular season game. I mean, that's unheard of. I feel like if they can work on their offense, that'll be a really scary team because they get stops. They apply pressure to other teams' offenses. They just need to figure it out, and that's a well-rounded team if they do.
And then my take on the Atlanta Falcons defense, I think the moment that they get edge threat, they're going to be unstoppable. They're going to take the number 1 spot from the Panthers because you're not throwing it over anyone in that secondary. It's just you're going to be able to run it up the middle almost every time. Besides the fact you have to run right past Calais Campbell, and that is the only person on that D-line that is going to be able to stop you. So if you're able to get Calais locked down by your guard and your center, whatever it will take, that's probably your only shot of being able to run the ball. But that secondary, it's going to be hard to throw on them all night. So now we're on to number 4, the Dallas Cowboys. Pretty locked down unit. Agent, what's your take on them?
Well, I definitely got to do a little bit more scouting on my part because I do play them next week. But what I will say is this: do we really even have to talk about the playmakers? We got Micah Parsons, who at age like 23 is one of the scariest defensive players, whether he's in coverage or rushing the passer. He's elite at both. And I don't know anybody wants to see that. You still got Stephon Gilmore, who people might think just his 30, he don't got it. He definitely got it, that's for sure. And if correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure they traded for Levante David. So, I mean, defensively, that is a unit you do not want to see. They just make plays flat out.
That is very true. And now we're off to the number 5 defense, the Jags. Agent, what you've seen out there?
Honestly, they're a very unsung unit. They've had their names in some trade rumors on defensive end, Josh Allen particularly, but he's been getting down and he's been balling. There's no true star or stud on that defense anywhere. They're all just super solid. You don't got any big name corners or big name safeties or big name linebackers. But what I can say is they get the job done week in and week out, keep everything in front of them, and they're probably the best tackling team that we have.
That is very true. John, what have you seen out there from the Jags?
I wish I'd ordered it, bro. John, where you at, G?
Yeah, we're
Oh shit,
keeping
I'm
this
on
in.
mute. I just talked to myself. Fuck. Damn. Cut and then tell me when to go. Countdown.
Nah, just go. I'm keeping this in.
Ah
It's
shit.
hilarious.
All right. So what I said before I was rudely interrupted by my mic not working was that they give up only 7 points in the last 2 games combined. They go out there, they get stops, they force turnovers. They're really good in pass defense, and they only allow about 2.4 yards per carry. So I mean, that's a really solid defense.
Yeah, that's very impressive. That's a good run stopping defense. And they also have a top 5 offense, I believe. No, they're just top 5 team. But if they keep going at the rate they are, oh no, they are in. Yeah, they're in the top 5 defense, top 5 offense, and then they're a top 5 team. It all makes sense.
Consistency.
Numbers don't
Consistency.
lie.
Their coach must be proud of them right now. But thank you guys for joining us in the CFM News. This was me, Agent, and Ja. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.